Oh, what's up, guys? David Phoenix here. Hope everybody's doing well. We back at it. You can tell by the title, we're extending the stream by half an hour. It'll be all this week. We're going to see how that goes. See if we can keep the same amount of people we normally do for that extra half hour. And then if it goes well this week, we're going to extend it to 2 hours next week. Book plug, buy the book, paperback, $20. Kindle Unlimited, free 99, minus 99. And normal Kindle, $10. I forgot what I was supposed to say there. Let's upload. I will make sure you rate it as well and give it a review if you can. If you can't give it a review, just give it a star rating. Giving it a star rating helps out way more than you think it does. So let's upload the final chapter of. I still have not read the last 3 chapters. I need to do that, but see, we got some people in the chat already. C4, what up, bruh? Mr. Shaw, what up? Octopus in the panda, yeah. Yeah, I get it. Man, everybody streams at the same time on Monday. I got like 6 back-to-back Twitch notifications today around like 6:30. Hmm. What is beginning of chapter 12? Yeah, man. I was thinking about reading chapter 12 before the stream, but I had like 30 minutes. I just got out the shower too, which is why I'm letting my hair sit out because I don't like when it's smushed. It's hard to take out once it dries. Like, need a haircut anyway. We all need haircuts. Unless your plan was to grow your hair out, then you're right on schedule. Let's go. I'm writing right now too. That's what's up. It's that after 9 to 5 time right now. Well, especially California, 5 o'clock sharp right now. Everybody coming in from work to do their hobby, second careers. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. When you put it like that, you're right. Okay, we said we'd leave Antithesis as the last chapter. Sorry. Forgive me for not talking now much, but I'm saving my breath for what I'm about to. You have no idea how much I added to the power system overnight. I posted a picture. 12. That's how you spell 12, right? I posted it. Well, not a picture, but like on my stories on my social media sites. Of like the intro to the power system, and that was at 6 a.m. today, as in I hadn't slept from the previous night. So I'm looking forward to letting you guys know just what's in store for this new power system and the story we're going to be tweaking. Now, we have already written the first 4 chapters on stream already, but those chapters are probably going to have to change based on what this new power system is bringing to the table. I added a power system to the story because I felt like it was getting way too similar to Descended, and adding a power system will also help me give new applications to these abilities that I will be explaining. So give me a few minutes to post the final chapter of Antithesis' origin on Wattpad, and well, I just posted on Wattpad, but the other two, and yeah, for the elementals, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's that's like a temporary name I gave to one of the the classes of these people. The elementals are an alien race though, so I'm not calling them elementals in order to avoid confusion. Um, but we will get to that in a second. C4. Let's add the last chapter. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe we can add, depending on the site, add the chapter 12. Add the other short story. What's her face's short story? The captivity one, the second one. Still need to add the polls too. Let's get comfortable. This is not comfortable. Oh, you can add chapter here. Hello, welcome to the stream, Daddy. Glad you can make it. Glad you could make it. All right, so that's done. So prepare your minds, clear everything out of your head that you think you know about the series we've been writing on stream. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing yet. You don't clear. What's this black saying? Oh yeah, I have to do my research on this. You don't know nothing. All right. So I believe we can actually have to read this later, so I have to leave this open. Um. So look, you remember how we don't know blueberry nothing? You damn right, C4. So you remember how it looked last time? It was kind of like this. Yeah, well, to explain it to other people, this is what, instead of like looking how it looks like the list, this is how I wrote it out. Wrote this out in like half an hour. But we're about to go through all of this junk, all of this junk in a second. Well, right now actually. Um, so I know you can read, but I'm gonna help you read, so you don't have to read. So this is the Disturbed Delinquents Power System breakdown. So the Cosmic Council, a council of 9 distinct beings in the virtuous universe, which is the universe that Descended takes place in, the book that's been published, Descended, um, and a few other stories simultaneously taking place. But all of my stories take place in the virtuous universe, depending on the time period and all that. But 9 distinct beings in the virtuous universe were created on a planet that would later be named Disturbed. Right? With me so far? Pretty simple. Not that simple because they're cosmic beings, but you follow me. When they left to do their jobs to give balance to the universe, they each left behind essence on Disturbed, which is the planet they were created on. This essence called virtue, because I needed to give it a name, so virtue is the same as, let's give some examples. Dragon Ball Z has ki, Naruto has chakra, Hunter x Hunter has aura. Virtue is what this life force essence is called. This essence called virtue was instilled into the beings that evolved as life on the planet. Virtue has a limit to how much can be used at a time before collapsing, fainting, or possibly dying, but can recharge given enough time. Stellars, I'll explain who those are in a minute, with less capacity take less time to charge, but cannot use a large amount all at once due to the small capacity. So, see how this water gun only got a little of this amount of container space for water? So imagine that's like one of the Stellas got that, but then uh, this trash can here is what the normal size is. So this, of course, would take less time to recharge, but you can only use so much of it. This trash can, you can use a lot of it, but it's going to take a lot to get back to its max capacity. More time, right? Okay. So the beings, the stellars, these are the beings that developed as life on the planet, are almost identical to humans, and each fall under a different class. Their virtue grants them, their essence grants them. There's a space here, and I did not realize that. Shouldn't have been a space, guys. All right, so now we're gonna get into the class system a little bit. So kinetics are the class that came from the embodiment of nature. That should be a capital N. Are stellars that are able to control and generate a specific element and able to embody the element they control. An example being pyrokinetics. It's just an example. And there are one of the rules for them is, and we're gonna have to finalize. That's why I said finalize, because we don't have all the strengths and weaknesses mapped out just yet. But one of the rules is there cannot be more than one kinetic that specializes in something. So if somebody's a pyrokinetic, they're the only pyrokinetic on the planet. That's just how it works. So next we have transmutators, the class that came from the embodiment of chaos, are able to change one thing into something else. That's what the definition of transmutate is. Or one of those. Transmutators have two subclasses, self-mutators and touch mutators. Self-mutators can change something about their own body. An example being cell manipulation. So they have complete control over their cells, so that grants them stuff like regeneration. They can compact their cells together and give them like super strength or toughness or something. And they can also dematerialize themselves and float through the air into a different place, um, like put themselves back together. Um, so that's an example. Touch mutators can change something other than themselves into another thing through touch. And touch is kind of like one of their weaknesses. And like I said, we'll get into the weaknesses and stuff later. But an example being the Midas touch. So say I pick this remote up and I'm like, you know what? Boom. Now it's a gold remote. That's what touch mutators can do. The next class, boosters. The class that came from the embodiment of instinct are able to enhance themselves through the use of virtue. This is the broadest and most common category. An example being muscle manipulation. So say I break my muscles down to where I'm loose. I'm now loose. Or I tighten them up to where it grants me more strength. That's an example of what a booster can do. Traversers. Traversers are the class that came from the embodiment of space, are able to tamper with space, whether it be traversing through it or causing something else to traverse through it. An example, really simple example, being teleportation, instant teleportation. The next class are controllers. The class that came from the embodiment of destruction, are able to create and control a special weapon that cannot be found anywhere in any universe or alternate dimension. An example being a sword that generates and drips with acid. That was just an example I came up with. The next class, and arguably one of the strongest classes, aka the Space Force to the Traversers. Yep. Next class, and arguably one of the strongest classes, I'd say transmutators, boosters, and thieves are probably the strongest classes. The class that came from the embodiment of evil are able to tamper with others' abilities, an example being a temporary power swap. Say I hold my hand out to two people, one can control fire, one can control ice, I go boop. Now you can control fire, you can control ice, you can control fire. Because I like messing with people's powers. The next are called thinkers. This is the class that came from the embodiment of order. They're able to tamper with others' minds, an example being telepathy. The next kind of final class is summoners, which is the class that came from the embodiment of good, are able to create multiple copies of something specific. An example being, I can create golems. Boom, there's a golem. This is a rock golem. That's what a summoner can do. And the final class, which should have come from the embodiment of time, does not exist, supposedly. So we got a bit more information here before we get into the actual breakdowns down here. Each class comes with its own strengths and weaknesses that give more balance to the classes. For example, because thinkers don't need to move in order to use their virtue, their range does not extend past 50 yards. Though, to be 50 yards, I'm American, I'm sorry. Though, to be even near 50 yards for reach would require a lot of strength and training. In addition, the virtue capacity they begin with is significantly smaller than the other classes. So you remember what I was saying about the water gun and the garbage can? There's a significant difference between how much virtue they are able to store at a time. And finally, in order to be granted legal use of one's virtue, one needs to pass an exam. First, the examinees are taught about their abilities fully before being tested. So the main character, when we get into the story, Ciro, will be doing the test. He's going to be his introduction, but he'll be doing the test, and through him being taught, the reader's going to be taught. So it's not going to be like, it's going to be new information for him and new information for the reader. So the type of test varies. After one passes the exam, they are allowed to use their abilities freely. But here's the catch: without any sort of consequence. Not really a catch, the opposite of a catch, a throw. Unfortunately, this contributes to the lawlessness of the dystopia planet. These were questions I had to answer for myself. What is the force for the power? Force for, let's see, virtue. Come from the Cosmic Council. We established that in the beginning. Whomst does the force for power affect? Whomst does the virtue affect? Living beings on the planet of Disturb. It should be living beings born on the planet of Disturb. Limit or limitless? Give it a limit that gives less freedom to them, and they have to be smart about how they use their abilities. Scientific or magical? I'd say magical / spiritual / cosmic. All three. Though it can also be scientific, though I'm not entirely sure. We're going to figure that out. Can the power be found? Like, can you walk up to a grocery store called Virtue, right? And it's like, yo, they got virtue in stock, bro. Let's go get ourselves some virtue. Like, no, the power cannot be found. And then do they need to pass an exam of some sort, go to school? Like I said before, I already have another series that's dealing with superpowered school, so don't really want to do that again for another series. Trying to keep it separate from my other series. So they need to pass an exam, and like I said, before first examinees, I talked about the ability for being tested, and there's other stuff there. So these are the groups. I was naming them: kinetics, people who, and that. All that, the subclasses, they have no subclasses. The only one that really has a subclass is the transmutators right now. So we don't have strengths or weaknesses for the kinetics yet. I guess a weakness would be each kinetic is completely unique. I don't know if it's entirely like a weakness. It's kind of just a note, but I want to mark it as a weakness because, you know, you're never going to have like team ups like, oh god, this fire is too much for me to handle. Nobody can help you with that. Like, if you're the only pyrokinetic on the planet, you're kind of stuck with that. Each kinetic is completely unique, with there being only one of each type of kinetic. Should be capital. For example, there is only one pyrokinetic on the planet. Let's say at a time. So there's room for so in case somebody dies with pyrokinetics, like somebody can be born with the power of pyrokinetics after that person has passed, you know. So some examples, you know, pyrokinetic, we don't go through all that. Transmutators. So I had the weakness for touch mutators they have to touch to change to activate, touch an object, touch a person or objects to activate their abilities. So they can't just hold their hand out and be like, yeah, those are butterflies now. Like, they can't do that. be too overpowered. Um, okay, so strengths. I'm really thinking about weaknesses right now. I don't think I've come up with any strengths whatsoever besides. I was really clear with the thinkers. Weaknesses for self-transmutators. I'm not entirely sure for that either yet. That's why we're trying to finalize. We're trying to figure that out. Terms boosters. They have no subclass. Weaknesses. None of their abilities grant them good range. So they have to be up close in order to maximize their potential for maximize the use of their ability. Strengths known to be. Oh, my knees hurt. Known to be. I should like pull this desk away from the wall. Can I do that without knocking anything down? Nope. I cannot. Can I slide it? I don't think it's working. I think it's working. Because I want to be able to like stretch my legs out. I have to bunch them up. I gotta be close to. Oh god, something fell, guys. Something fell. Okay, that's better. Okay. There we go. Still not able to fully extend my legs just yet, but that's better than what I was doing. Alright. So strengths known to be durable due to the abilities granted to them. No, why is it? That's what ability. Traversers, weaknesses. Maybe less strength. Less strength overall. Since they're able to move, they don't feel like strength would be a good weakness drawback. What else do I? Strengths, they're normally instantaneous. Normally, when a traverser activates their power, it's instantaneous. So controllers, weaknesses, unable to conceal weapon. So yeah, I think I kind of like that. So a controller would never be able to controller would never be able to hide their weapon, even if it's like a knife or something. Like they have to keep it out in the open. It'd be pretty interesting. Don't know what would force them to do that, but strengths, range, better range. Weapon grants them better range than a booster. I want to range gives me an idea for strength of the kinetics. Range, best range for best range out of all the classes. I'm not going to specify the range for them though. Thieves, weaknesses. It's not going to be touch for all of them, like they have to touch somebody. Plus, that's already a weakness for the other class.
I hope you did. If you did, be sure to leave us some feedback or something.
Most of the time, it's not. The abilities are not permanent. Oh, gifted a tier 1 sub to J-Base Phoenix's community. Their first gift sub in the channel. Peter gifted the tier 1 sub to C4. That's what's up. Look at moms out here being generous. Appreciate the gifted sub, mom. Appreciate the gifted sub. C4 definitely deserves it. Welcome to the sub club, C4. Welcome to the sub club, my guy. Welcome to the sub club, bro. Shouts out to moms for the gifted sub. Okay. So time, the abilities are not permanent. Strengths. And weaknesses. Most of the time, abilities are not permanent. Most of the time, they are unable to protect themselves unless they have some sort of weapon on them or are skilled hand-to-hand should be dash hand combat. Strengths. I don't know any strengths in this yet. Virtue Steel, one of the main characters, one of the main good characters, I think is going to have this ability. Grants the user ability to steal the ability of another permanently. Steal, let's reword this a little bit. Grants the user the ability to steal the virtue of another and allowing them and granting them the ability of the other permanently. This ability can leave the other dead. Because like I said, if you're out of virtue, then it's possible you die. So there's a possibility of stealing somebody else's virtue in order to give yourself their ability would be killing them. Then we had strengths for the thinkers do not need to move their body in order to use their powers. I've been saying ability, powers, same thing. Weaknesses can range. Yeah, we've said this earlier. 50 yards. Summoners requires an absurd amount of virtue, leaving the summoner open. Strengths of a summoner. Can create multiple. Well, that's in the description. That's not. I don't know if that's really a strength. Did the YouTube thing pause again? Probably. Yeah. What would be the strength of a summoner? Ooh. After image generator. Here's another example of what a thinker can do. Gotta be some kind of extension to fix that YouTube pause thing. I'm gonna go. Alright, appreciate it, people. They only just started doing that, like the freaking Netflix. I don't understand that. There used to not be any problems for that. Examples. Here's another. Finding. Like not like mind scan. Virtue scan. Finding others with. Finding others. And finding out others virtue abilities. There's a lot of more superpowers that can be made from just the virtue alone, like virtue explosion. They just let out an explosion of their virtue, but it leaves them stupidly weak. Virtue explosion would probably fall under not controllers, not reversers, probably boosters. Yes. Self-detonation. Self-detonate allows the stellar to self-detonate their virtue. But it leaves them wide open. And I want to add more weaknesses to the specific abilities. Things like the kinetics, where they're all pretty much the same except they're just controlling different elements. They should have a blanket strengths and weaknesses thing, but things for like boosters, they have their own weaknesses here and strengths here, but when we get to the specific superpower, like when I just created the virtue explosion, that should there should be more specific weaknesses there as well. So they have the blanket weaknesses and strengths, and then their own personal strengths and weaknesses as well. What will be the strength of a thief? Time the abilities are not permanent. Most of the time, they are unable to protect themselves. Do not necessarily need to touch anything Need to use hand motion in order to use ability. Do not necessarily need to touch anything in order to activate power. Virtue power. Okay. It's probably I can probably keep adding to the strengths and weaknesses forever, but we'd be here all day. And right now, I don't want to F with the time one. That's why nobody's under that one. But there, I guarantee you, and I'm probably going to come up with it someday, and that's why I'm telling you now, there's probably going to be at least one character, one surprise character that has falls under the time virtue class. And another thing that's probably going to happen, and I'm telling you now because I'm already thinking about the possibilities of this. There's definitely going to be at least one individual in the story that has two abilities that are from two different classes. So, and it won't be through the virtue steal where they're like stealing other people's powers. It'll be like, hey, I'm a cryokinetic, but I can also self boost, so I can add more power to my ice or something like that, you know. But I don't want to touch that just yet because I'm trying to keep it simple as of right now. But maybe that'll be a different element added down the line in the story. Like I said, I don't know how long the story is going to go, but I can imagine keeping this as an ongoing story, much like I'm keeping Descended. Like the end goal for the main characters is to take out the main villain Omnispect, right? But there's so much other things that can happen with what they plan to do. Like Omnispect might not be the only main villain in the story. There can be other people that rise through him or rise from his downfall or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Strength's best range out of all of the classes. I think kinetics is pretty the kinetics are pretty straightforward. I don't think I have to add any more strengths and weaknesses to them because I can't think of anything that would make sense for the kinetics, like as more blanket whatever. I think they're the most straightforward class. Now the self-transmutators are where I'm having trouble coming up with both strengths and weaknesses. Are they the only one that I didn't give strengths and weaknesses right now? Yes, they are. Okay. Oh, wait. I have strength for the summoners, and it's pretty much common sense. So, whatever... Where'd all those Z's come from? I didn't... Was I thinking I was hitting shift? That was probably it. Whatever the summoner summons can be used. Because it's not, you don't have to do it, but can be used to protect the summoner while their virtue recharges. So that's that. And I don't think we need any more to the summoners. So the summoners are pretty good. Do I have the check mark thing? So I know who's done and who ain't. I have it on like Antithesis's on like his kill list. I think the check marks are there. I could look up the check mark and that probably but we're already committed, y'all. We're committed.
It seems to be a sudden general explosion of mass homicide. Will all who wish to die please raise their...
Here we go. See, it was so much easier than just looking up check mark. Okay, so summoners are done. They are completely done. Just need more characters that can fall under the summoner thing. Summoners are finished. Thinkers. Thinkers, I think I made pretty clear. I like their strengths and weaknesses, and I think thinkers are done as well. Thieves do not necessarily need to touch anything in order to activate virtue power. Most of the time, the ability is not permanent. Most of the time, they are unable to protect themselves unless they have some sort of weapon or are skilled in hand-to-hand combat. Need to use hand motion in order to use ability. I think those are pretty straightforward. I think the thieves are done as well. Oh, does every class have in the name besides the thieves? No, kinetics doesn't. Okay, never mind. So we're good. I was about to trigger my. I don't have a. Well, I think does everybody have a little bit of OCD? I think everybody has at least a sliver of it. Thieves, controllers. Okay, weapon grants them better range than a booster. Unable to conceal weapon. Sliver of OCD, C4. I think everybody has a little bit of that. A little bit of OCD in them. Just a little. Controllers. I think controllers are pretty straightforward too. Yeah, controllers can be broad too, as far as their weapons go. So controllers are done. Traversers. Strengths normally when a traverser activates a power, it's instantaneous. Weaknesses less strength overall. I kind of dig that. Like they don't have as much strength as the other classes. Less strength compared to the other classes. So summoners have the thinkers have less virtue capacity. Summoners use a lot of virtue when using their powers, and traversers just are just weaker physically overall. Less physical. Let's say less physical strength. Like a traverser could be like a dude that goes to the gym all the time and like is this huge hunk of just slab of meat walking around, and he's still gonna have less ability than somebody from like less strength than somebody from like than like say one of the boosters, let's say, because it wouldn't make sense if like a scrawny kinetic went up against a slab of meat and was like, yeah, I'm a traverser. Like the slab of meat says, I'm a traverser, and the kinetic is like, cool, I can control fire. And then they get in an arm wrestling match, and then the kinetic beats the slab of meat. Like that doesn't make sense. So I think the traverser is done. So pretty much you can overcome, and what I like about this is you can overcome some of these strengths and weaknesses I'm giving based on how much dedication you have to overcoming those. So less physical strength compared to the other classes, but they can get them gains and become physically stronger if committed. So traversers are done, controllers are done, thieves done, thinkers, all of them done. Who do we have left? We have 3 more left. The boosters, transmutators, and kinetics. Probably my top favorites. I'd say boosters or kinetics are probably my favorites. Well, some of the self mutators can do some crazy things, like the cell manipulation. That's pretty crazy. Boosters. Strengths known to be durable due to the abilities granted to them. Yes. None of their abilities grant them good range, so they have to be up close in order to maximize the use of their ability. Um, like I said, these strengths and weaknesses can be overcome depending on what they are. Some of them are just straight up like, no, you cannot overcome this unless, like I said, unless you train them. Like the thinkers. The thinkers have probably got the shortest end of the stick, but their abilities can be OP. So, um, boosters are done. Transmutators. I did not have anything for the self mutators. Saying something about themselves or physiology. Touch mutators. Let's play with the. I think I want to play with the virtue a little more as far as the weaknesses and strengths go. So I'm thinking who should have the most. Think about who should have the most virtue capacity and who has the fastest recharge. Um, Stuff like that. Transmute self transmutators. So it'd be either the self transmutators or the boosters that would probably have the fastest recharge. And I think because the boosters already like make themselves physically stronger, I think I want the self mutators to have the fastest recharge rate. Normal amount, fastest recharge rate, fastest virtue recharge rate, um, normal amount of virtue capacity. And the weakness. Forgot to press enter. But to the OCD thing, yeah, I feel that I gotta have my perfect image size formatted in relation to to like information. I'll post an example later on Discord. Okay, okay. Weakness for this press recharge rate. Hmm. So let's do something with like, let's say if concentration is broken during a self transmutation activation, it can result in permanent damage and disfigurement. So say I'm shape shifting into somebody else and you yell out, "Hey, stupid!" And I'm like, "Huh? What?" And then half my face is the face of a white lady forever. Like that's that's just an example. Very very odd. I'll grant that example. Touch transmutators. So the strengths have to touch. What's the strength of that though? Like can be changed back, maybe. Strengths is they're granted the ability to change something back if they want. I kind of like that as strength. So yeah, if range is like their biggest issue, then being able to change something, they're able to reverse the change on something, though it's not guaranteed. that it's the exact same object that it was before. Hello, Karen, Linda. Yep, yep. I got half a Linda face on my face, bro. If you yell out, call out to me while I'm shapeshifting, bro, I'm gonna end up half a Karen, half a Karen, bro. Don't do this. Don't do that, C4. Um. So transmutators. Somebody has to have the largest amount of virtue capacity. So they have the best. Kinetics have the best range. Self transmutators have the best recharge rate. Um, say self boosters have the largest capacity. I could see that. So through this, we could make a chart. We could make a chart of the capacity and the recharge rates, like a tier list of where all the things fall, where all the classes fall. Liking that. Okay. Largest largest capacities from large to small. Wow, layer. We'll create a table here. Well, do we have to create a table? No, we don't. Number one, largest capacity. We just said boosters are number one. Then we'll figure out the rest. I'm gonna just put fastest recharge. God dang it. From fastest to slowest. Okay, number one. Did we say? Oh, and then let's do best range. Farthest range from farthest farthest to closest. All right. So at the top, I know here kinetics go for the range. So we need. Let's put 9. Just um, time. Just gonna put time at the bottom of each of them. So boosters have the largest, and we could have a few on the same tiers as well. So say like one of them is like at one point is average. So who did I say had the smallest capacity? Range. Maybe does not extend past. So thinkers have the shortest range. No, they wouldn't. I'd say boosters have the shortest range. Boosters, but um, thinkers don't have a great range. So, in order to keep from scrolling up, I'm going to open this document again. Keep from scrolling up over and over. Spare myself the work. Put that there. Put this over here. Oh, no. It should go here. You should go here. Okay. So I can scroll at my leisure over on this side. Hey, it's 9 o'clock, but are we ending the stream? Nope, we're adding 30 minutes. I'd say kinetics have a really good capacity as well. Wait, who has the fastest recharge rate? The self-transmutators? Yeah. Self-mutators. Able to reverse the chain on something. I'd say touch mutators. Oh, there needs to be 10 because there's a subclass, and the self mutators and the touch mutators are not the same. They're in the same class, but they're not the. You know what I mean. I don't know if you know what I mean, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, largest virtue capacity. I kind of want to say kinetics just have the best everything. I think this needs to go like that. Boosters are kind of at the bottom as far as range goes. Kinetics are at the top of that one. Alright, let's find out where. Let's go to a different one. Traversers. Would somebody who traverses through space have the best amount of instantaneous? What's physical? Largest traversal capacities. I don't think a traverser would have the largest. Doesn't they just be able to spam their thing? So let's just put traversers here for now. I don't think they're at the bottom. Somebody else is at the bottom, I believe. As far as virtue recharge goes, I'd say they're pretty average. And I want some pancakes right now. As far as the farthest range, I'd say they're pretty up there actually. Traversers are pretty good. Okay, I think that's how I'm gonna do off all of them. I'm just gonna go down the list of each one. I don't want to start with the top right now. Controllers, their capacity. If they create a weapon, why would they not be able to conceal it if they could just make it go away? So let's say their weakness is no, but nobody has the slowest recharge rate, right? But they don't really need, unless they're infusing their virtue in their weapon to create their weapon. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I got it. Slowest recharge rate. Okay, follow me. Slowest virtue recharge rate. Due to them using most of their virtue to create their weapon. Oh, and here's a strength, another strength. If their weapon breaks or is destroyed, they can use. Wow, I spelled destroyed wrong. They can use their virtue to craft it again, causing the other one to disappear, causing the damaged, broken, or destroyed one to disappear. Okay, so they have the slowest virtue recharge rate because of this. Like I said, due to them using most of their virtue to create their weapon. Their weapon has no time limit on how long it can stay, I guess, stay created. How many seconds we talking? Minutes or W/E? What does W/E mean? Um, I don't know. I don't like to give an exact, unless it's like maybe distance. I don't like to give an exact amount of time because I don't. It's supposed to be kind of like mystic/magical stuff, so I kind of don't want to put an exact science to all of this. Um, so I don't know, a few minutes. I'd say uh, controllers. It would take like a few hours. Few hours. Breaks are destroying. Recharge rate a few hours due to them using, yeah, okay, that makes sense for them. So slowest at the bottom here, they would be the controllers. Largest capacity, they'd probably have an average capacity, just a slow recharge rate. Maybe put them at 4 controllers. I got you. Oh, W is whatever. Oh, well, I have not known. You just taught me something today. The lesson of the day, y'all, is W/E means whatever. That's the lesson today. Brought to you by C4 Black. Brought to you by C4. So where would controllers fall? Range? Range depends, so I'm just gonna average them out. Range depends on the weapon. Let's go to thieves. Shouldn't need to touch anything most of the time. Abilities are not permanent. Most of the time they're unable to protect themselves. Need motion, need hand motion. Okay, nothing about really virtue. Nothing about virtue. What would their range be? Their range would be not the greatest, I'd say. Not the greatest range. Because they can just wave their hand and somebody on the other side of the planet gets their power stricken from them. That's not very, it's not very cash money of them. Okay, where would these fall on largest capacity? I'd say their capacity is pretty average. Then recharge rate, I want to put them above traversers. Um, thinkers. Their range is just above boosters because boosters can really only do it to themselves, but thinkers deal with other people. So within a certain amount of space, they still beat boosters as far as range. Um, virtue capacity. Did I say anything about it? Virtue capacity being significantly smaller? So they're at the bottom. Yes, they're at the bottom. Um, recharge rate. I'd say it's pretty average too. I'm gonna put them below. Maybe they'll be at 7. Maybe below traversers, above controllers though. Okay, final one before we got to scroll back up to the top and figure out the rest. Summoners. Um, absurd amount. There's nothing about any of these 3 classes as far as usage goes. So let's figure this out. Largest virtue capacities. I'd say summoners have to have a lot in order to summon in the first place. Um, so they're right under boosters. Um, recharge rate. It'd probably be pretty slow. Let's put them at 8. Then I'm gonna once we filled everybody out on all 3 subjects, we're gonna go back and make sure it makes sense as far as the top 10 goes. Farthest range. So should they be able to summon from anywhere? Not really. Let's put them at 7. Let's put them at 7. So let's go back up to the top to kinetics and figure out where kinetics belong. Was kinetics at the top? They were for top for range. Okay. As far as virtue capacities, I'd say kinetics are pretty strong. Kinetics are probably one of the strongest classes overall, I'd say. Recharge rate, I'd say they're pretty up there too. Kinetics are the all-stars. And range. Okay. Self-mutators. They are not on this one yet. Largest capacities. Shoot. I want to put them over kinetics actually. Self-mutators. Um, fastest recharge rate, self-mutators. Oh, they were at the top. Okay. Farthest range, they probably have really bad range too. So I put them. Actually, I put them just above the boosters. So I get rid of one of these. So that's the self mutator. So let's go to touch mutators. Largest capacity touch mutators. They probably be pretty average to controllers. Let's put touch over. So since I'm not putting everybody on the same level, I want to just stay away from that to avoid confusion. So I believe that's everybody for the capacities. We'll go back in a second and look at the list. Touch mutators, they are recharge rate. Do touch mutators deserve to be at the top of this one? Like, do they? I don't think they should be. So what do they have as far as... Are they at the... let's figure out the range. Touch mutators. So their range can be actually pretty good. Let's put them just above controllers. No, wait. Touch mutators. Oh, so they go like... I actually think they go under boosters because they have to actually physically touch something. Some boosters might be able to extend a part of them. So let's put touch mutators at the bottom, and I might have to change Boosters have the worst range. Did I put that under boosters? Good range, not the worst range though. They have the worst range out of all the classes. Uh, recharge rate. Um, so I gotta figure out. I gotta figure out where they are. Um, as far as everywhere else goes. So they're at the bottom of that. They're at the middle of this, so they should be towards the top of this. Not, yeah, maybe they should have the fastest recharge rate, I'd say. Okay, so let's leave them there. Second fastest recharge rate. Mutators are pretty good at that. Boosters. I think they were the last one. Largest capacity. I did say that. Large amount of capacity storage. Um, fastest to slowest. Boosters aren't on this list. Boosters are on the last list, so they are the last one that has to be placed. Then, like I said before, we're gonna look back at the list. Should they be at 6? I'm gonna put them at 6 for now, and then look back at the entire list. Oh, the B's already there. Look at that. All right, let's look back at this list. Largest capacities, boosters. Yes, that is a strength. Largest amount of capacity storage. Summoners. Yes, they have to have a large amount, so they could be under boosters. Actually, should summoners have the largest? No, I feel like boosters should be at the top of at least one of these. Where do they fall on the other lists? Virtue recharge rate 6, not the greatest. Farthest range 8, not the greatest either. So yeah, they should be at the top of something. Boosters can be really good. Summoners second makes sense. Where are they as far as range goes? No, sorry, recharge goes. Yeah, they're not the greatest either. Controllers, it makes sense for them to have the slowest. But range, they're average. They're right in the middle. So I think for each of these to be balanced, they need to be at least towards the top of one of these, towards the middle of one of these, and towards the bottom of one of these. I think that makes sense. So yeah, I like where that's going as far as they go. Self mutators, as far as capacity goes, that makes a decent amount of sense because they're pretty similar to boosters, not the exact same. They're at the top of this list. Oh, so self mutators, they're pretty good. And then they're towards the bottom of this list. And like I said, I think some classes might be have to be better than others. Um, not the greatest range, but they're at the top of the other two lists. So they have a large amount of capacity and they are able to recharge very fast. Three things, right? Capacity, recharge, range. Yes. Yes, you are correct, C4. Oh god, the YouTube did the thing again. I didn't even notice the music stopped, dude. My bad. Okay, then we go to kinetics. Kinetics are pretty high up on all three, but I was about to say they're not at the top of any of them. Um, actually, we can actually rate overall. We can do that. Overall rating as far as placement for, what was it, capacity, recharge, and range goes. So self mutators and kinetics are at the top. Say self mutators might be over. Kinetics. Um, so we're on kinetics there at the top half of this one. Uh, Largest virtue capacities. They're not the largest. Very fast recharge rate, greatest range. So they're at the top. The self mutators, they're at the top of that. Third, so they're third, first, and seventh. Kinetics are fourth, third, and first. Actually, kinetics go over self mutators just by that alone. I said it out loud, it made more sense. Self mutators are second right now. Uh, let's look back at, let's say boosters were average. They were towards the bottom, actually. Boosters. Let's make 9. We need 10. I'm at the bottom. Let's say they're 8th time. 8th or 7th. Let's look back at summoners. Summoners, largest capacity, so they're second. Where were they? Recharge 8th, second, 8th, and 5th. So they're like maybe 4th. Maybe 4th or 5th. Okay, and then we did self mutators and kinetics. Yes, okay. Touch mutators, so they're average here, they're average as far as capacity goes. Touch mutators are second from the recharge rate, so second, 5th, second, and 9th. So they are like dead average, I'd say. Touch mutators. Controllers are next. 6th. Oh god. And then recharge 9th, 6th, 9th, and 3rd for range. 6th, 9th, and 3rd. Not the greatest either. Summoners might be 3rd, actually. Shoot. Summoners might be 3rd. I think 6th, 9th, and 3rd. Touch mutators were 9th, 2nd, and 5th. So I think touch mutators go above. Who was it? Who was I just talking about? Oh God. Controllers. Yo, I didn't know how to explain the words, but this thing might be a better term. Gauge abilities of each class. Let's look at this. Oh, okay. All right. Let's look at this. 15 stars max per class. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Kind of like that. All right. I want to finish my list, and then we'll use this and go however long we need to go for the stream. But I like this. So maybe so I think maybe something that's like 13 stars and last 2 stars and the others all. Yeah, yeah. We can use this as well. So let me finish the list and then we'll use your thing. Thank you, C4. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we're doing controllers and then thieves 7th, 4th, and 7th, 4th, and 4th. Oh, it should be above touch mutators then. No. Put them under. Touch me. Thieves. Okay. And then was it two more? Traversers and thinkers. Okay, traversers. So they're eighth, fifth, and where are they here? Oh, second. Eighth, fifth, second. So it's probably over eighth, fifth, second. I feel like they're on the same thing as controllers, but I'm gonna put traversers under controllers. No, we're gonna go over controllers. Then the final one is thinkers. Thinkers are ninth, ninth, seventh, and sixth. Yeah, they're for sure at the bottom. Because of what they can do, this doesn't measure the ability, like the ability itself. Because of what they can do, they have to be nerfed. So I like that. So we can close this one out, move this over, and use C4's, where'd it go? Oh, was it here? No. Here. And use C4's, chart here. Copy and paste the whole thing if you want. Oh yeah, good idea. Okay. Appreciate it. C4. We'll add that to, actually we can just put this in the document itself. And I will credit you, my friend. I will credit you at the top of this chart here. C4 next. Virtue class chart. There you go. That's not the first time you've been immortalized in any of my documents, but yeah. All right, appreciate it, bro. This will actually help me better understand it too. So let's move this back over, put this here. I'm very hungry. I'm gonna order food, and we're gonna finish up this chart while the food starts cooking. No need to credit as long as it's all you for the most part. Yeah, but I like giving credit where credit's due. Like your dope ass fan art. I still need to make my wallpaper, but I like giving credit where credit's due. Burger King, Binger Kurg. I think I want Wendy's. I'm really hungry for anything. That's what my stomach is telling me. He's speaking to me like, yo, just get us anything, bro. That's what my stomach's telling me off right now. It's cursing at me. The supply chain issues, certain items and combos are currently unavailable. They have no combos. That's why I didn't order Wendy's before. They have no combos right now, bro. Kind of want chicken. There's not like good chicken places open currently. My stomach's angry. Alright. I really don't want McDonald's. Get a Burger King chicken sandwich. Their chicken sandwiches are much better than when I had them as a kid. I don't know what they were thinking when I was a kid, bro. I can get a sandwich. 9:30. Oh my god, I gotta hurry up. It's 9:28, guys. Wish me luck. Hot subs, hot specialty subs. Where's the one I like? Large. Oh god. No, not Italian. Think of it as large turkey bacon ranch. Yes, okay. Get that. Oh god, so many options. Add black. No, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. Black pepper's fine. No, we don't need black pepper. White bread. There's already bacon on it. And, no tomato. Do we need chips? Let's do chips. We'll have that in a second. Oh god, we have 1 minute to get this done. Guys, I'm freaking out here. Drinks, what do they have? Fountain drink, okay. Let's get Fanta, medium. Okay, that's good. Chips, where the chips? Sides? Sides. Uh, chips. Bro, I haven't had a sandwich in forever. Okay, Ruffles, good. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. 16, yes. Tip, boom. Please, oh, it's 9:30 now, guys. I don't know if we made it in time. I don't know if we made it. No, no, we didn't make it in time. Bro, I was ready for a sandwich, bro. I haven't had like a sub sandwich in forever. Guys, guys, I'm sad now. It's 9:30. We might have to get like 13 McChickens extra meal. Race his time. R.I.P. Bro. R.I.P. It was Firehouse Subs. I kind of like Firehouse Subs, bro. All right, let me refresh DoorDash and see what things are actually still open. We may have to do this off stream because I really want to see what I can do with these star reading. It's a good idea. Shouts out to C4 once again. But I don't want to keep everybody while I'm ordering food. Plus, I kind of want to eat. So there's that. So if we don't finish off stream or even start off stream, and I'm not sure I'm gonna start, but we will definitely. If I finish it off stream, I'll be showing you next time. If we don't finish, I'll be continuing it next time. And if we don't start, then we will be starting next time. Thank you guys so much for hanging around for the extra 30 this time. We're going to keep it going all week and see how that does. And then if we can keep it going, we're going to bump it up from 7:30 to 9:30. I'll be back here at 8 p.m. tomorrow night from 8 p.m. to 9:30. Make sure y'all buy books out, paperback 20, Kindle Unlimited, free 99, minus 99, and Kindle digital $10. Make sure you give it a rating. Ratings is just a star rating. Just put a star rating. You don't know how much it helps if you do. If you write a review, extra gold stars to you. I'm gonna give you 5 stars if you write a review. You, the person, you gonna get 5 stars. But that's gonna be it from your boy for tonight, guys. Shouts out to C4 for hanging out all the way through today, and welcome to the sub club, my guy. Shouts out to Daddy Industry tonight and Mr. Sean as well. And shouts out to Moms for the gifted tier 1 sub. I'm going to try and figure out what semi-healthy food I can eat that's not a sub sandwich because RIP Firehouse Subs. I wanted a sub. Thank you guys so much for watching this. And this is J-Base Phoenix once again, signing off, guys.